power of love. Beautiful. The divinity of unconditional love. Like a seashore in high tide, my memory has failed to wash off the bond between us, because even today, hidden in the vast terrain, there remains a speck, a grain of sand, even if truly a latent desire, a speck that is you. There it will remain forevermore until my body turns to dust and that little speck returns to its origin. It will bring to my mind laughter and glee, and when I am desolate company, it will teach me what and where I am wrong, and sometimes I will soothe me with its silence. I am its eternal devotee. No one can isolate me from that tiny speck. If not your company, I won't let this go. If not your touch, I won't let this fade. It's not your smile, I won't let this die. If not you, this is mine. The poker room. The white envelope glides towards me again. Is Danish Khan. He's 21-year-old software engineer from Pakistan. He's also an online poker buddy. I'm 44-year-old Indian housewife with 2 grown-up children and a lot of free time on my hand. Bored, yes, I am bored housewife. Playing poker online helped me a few hours a day lays behind my stolid existence and be a part of something other than a household chores and duties. Our poker room is a small melted pot with players from various corners of the globe. There was another lovely girl, Morilia, who joined us all the way from France. Besides bonding over poker, there was also a lot of incessant chatter, good-natured banter, and friendly ribbing amongst all of us. Over a few months, I watched the friendship between Danish and Manila blossom into something more. Sometimes I could also be a part of their conversations and play a gunny aunt to either of them. I would sense that Danish had begun trusting me. One day he was usually quiet when we played. I wondered if something had happened between Manila and him. He had also been absent from the poker room for quite a long while. After a few days, I decided to chat with him. Our friendship had graduated from being just poker buddies online forum. I wanted to ask him 100 questions, but better judgment prevailed. He was very monosyllabic, and my heart went out to him. Finally, he typed out, "Do you believe that you really fall in love on the net?" I sensed his anguish, but before I could voice an opinion, he went on. "Manu Manila is a doctor in Nice. She is 29 years old and we both madly in love with each other. We cannot live without each other even for a second." I let him pour his heart out to me, sensing his need to get all off his chest. I was in love with a girl in college once, but was too shy to tell her. I fantasized about marrying her and believing all my dreams would come true, till one day she left without so much as a goodbye. After a year for searching her, I finally got her phone number and called her. She couldn't even place me. And even she finally remembered, she just said that I should have moved on, and she had. I was shell-shocked. I could not breathe as I felt the life force had been sucked out of me. For months, my friends took me to parties, got me to meet other girls, but I never felt the same. It was only after I met Menno that I started feeling a love again. I will just know she is my soulmate. I took all this in. The poor boy, he had obviously been through a lot, but the good news was that he had met someone else, and yet he sounded troubled. Could the problem be that the French girl might not be able to adjust to a country like Pakistan? Was it the age difference between? Maybe their parents would never approve. We started talking about the practicality, or rather the impracticality of the situation, like the fact that he had never traveled outside Pakistan and that it was difficult to get a visa. The pragmatic surface. And I tried to reason with him. Their love stories spelled disaster. I could only see dark clouds. There was a lump in my throat, and I could sense that he was on the verge of the tears, but I controlled my emotions and decided it was better to show him harsh reality. But he seemed very calm and collected when he replied, "I love no, and I will cross every hurdle there is to get to her. I breathe only for her. She will be my wife, and I will prove you wrong." His conviction hit me like the ton of bricks. I could feel my cynicism melting away. Love really can make people climb the highest mountains. I want to tell Danish that I pray for him every day. I pray that he does get to be with his beloved loved one. He has reaffirmed my faith in love. I want him to know that watching his relationship with Manuela evolve has had a cathartic effect on me. Danish's trial and tribulations made me more appreciative of my life and realized how fortunate I am to have found my soulmate. Sometimes we take love for granted and never think twice about hurting our loved ones. We burden them with expectations and sacrifice love at the altar of the material world, never once thinking how good we have it. Sometimes all it takes is someone else's love story to make us realize that we are lucky to be in one of our own. Beautiful. The wisdom tooth. I'm hungry. Should we go to the station for egg burji? She said into the phone excitingly. It was 2 a.m. I smiled. This is what made my friendship with Ritika so precious. We were always doing mad impulsive things. Yes, sure, I said drowsily. Pick me up in 10 minutes. As I got dressed, I couldn't stop reflecting on how our friendship had evolved. I had moved to Delhi 2 years back for work, and I was single and eager to make friends. Ritika was 10 years older than me, but a child at heart. She helped me settle it like I was family. Gas connections, curtains, second-hand furniture, maid, electrician, the works. We spent a lot of time together and grew very close quickly. We would take walks, cook together, go shopping, whine about work, discuss our relationship, share our dreams. We had become like sisters, and I was delighted and grateful to have a close friend in a new city. It did have its ups and downs, though. 6 months back, when I started dating Neil, I was often torn between whom to give time to. Ritika too suddenly realized that I wasn't available as I used to be. I had her emotional moments, but there was one time when I almost lost her. Ritika had problem teeth and needed to get them checked regularly. One such trip to the dentist revealed that a wisdom tooth had to be extracted, but it was complicated. The root of the neighboring tooth was slightly entwined with this one, and so she would have to deal with some extra pain and the bleeding. Oh well, if my wisdom has to go, I'm not going to cling to it. The night after the extraction, Ritika was in a lot of pain. She called me in obvious agony and asked if I could come over. I was silent. Neil had made time after a long while to go for a movie, and I didn't want to cancel our date. Sorry, babe. Maybe I won't be able to make it. We definitely drop in tomorrow, though. I hung up, and from that moment on, there was an uneasy feeling in my belly. When I called Ritika the next morning, she didn't take my call. More calls followed, but no response. Finally, she messaged, "Need some time alone." I knew she was angry and hurt, and I didn't blame her. I had been callous and insensitive and not feeling miserable for being so selfish. Another day passed, and by now I was feeling awful and was filled with remorse. Finally, towards the evening, I sent a message, "Hey, Wiz, want to meet up for a walk?" I waited, hoped that she was feeling better. Half an hour later, she replied, "Okay, someplace 6 p.m." I went there early. It was one of the most scenic paths in the area with wild trees, loads of butterflies and the birds, and we had many a walk interspersed with long chats here. I paced impatiently till I saw her petite frame arrive in the distance. As she came closer, I could see her face was drawn from the pain and the drugs that had been prescribed. She looked paler and thinner than when I had seen her. I cringed again at my thoughtlessness. We fell into the step and walked in silence for a while. "How are you feeling now?" I finally asked meekly. Fine, it's still painful though." We walked some more quietly, slowly listening to the birds returning to their homes. I felt heavy and uneasy and finally started crying. "Hey, what's wrong, Ritika? Everything okay with you and me?" "Yes, Riz," I said, now sobbing, full throttle, running nose and all. "I just feel awful about not being there for you. I'm so sorry." I reached out to her and hugged her tight. She gently stroked my head and knew from that tender touch that my best friend, with her big, beautiful heart, had forgiven me, and I swore to be more sensitive the next time. My phone beeped and I emerged from my out of my reverie. Ritika was downstairs waiting to her car. I skipped 2 steps and hurried down. There she was, looking fresh and lively in the middle of the night, with an innocent looking face that broke into a smile easily. I jumped and we hugged. "We won't believe what happened this evening," she exclaimed. What? Tell me everything." There was our standard response. I was stepping out of work when this lady, our journey to the station and through life continued. Beautiful. United. Rani stared at a clump of hair that had just fallen in front of her. She stared in disbelief and then started screaming, Ajay, come here fast. Her husband came running in from the next room, TV remote control in his hand. He saw her hair and without a word held Rani close to him. She was sobbing by this time. Ajay's hand were rubbing her shaking back. After a few minutes, they noticed their son Arun was standing in the doorway. The 3-year-old was crying without even knowing what was wrong. Rani quickly wiped her tears away and ran over to him. This incident was the first of the many. Rani continued to lose her hair. The chemotherapy was started recently, so it was expected. But who said that the expected is always welcome? At each clump of the hair fell out, Rani became more despondent. She threw away her hair ornaments and stopped using the mirror. One day, when she did not look at her reflection, she was horrified and broke the mirror. She stopped going out except for the chemo sessions. Even then, she didn't even look at the doctor, just mechanically went through the ritual. When friends invited her over for dinner, Ajay would say no on her behalf. I can't show the world how ugly I am, said Rani. One day at the office, Ajay came up with what he thought was a brilliant idea. He would buy Rani a wig. He went home early and coaxed Rani into the car. She looked at him with curiosity because she hadn't seen him this excited in months. In the wig shop, Rani looked in several wigs, trying on each one for Ajay. She classified most of them as ugly until she found the one she liked. It was a wig of shoulder-length hair, silky, black and wavy, just like her own. I like, take this. Told the shopkeeper and walked out smiling, Arun tagging along happily as well. Rani wore the wig. She wore it to her parents' house. She wore it to her best friend's house. One day when a friend was visiting her house, the friend's 5-year-old said, Auntie had no hair last week. How can she have so much hair now? Rani struggled to find the answer. The child was right. This wasn't her hair. Who was she fooling? Devastated, Rani threw the wig into the trash can and stayed in the room all day until Ajay came home. Arun told him the story and asked, Papa, how can we make Mama stop crying? Ajay had another great idea. Come with me, Arun, I have an idea. The two drove to the hair salon nearby. At 9 o'clock, Rani came out of her room to see if Arun and Arjun had eaten. She found 2 bald heads beaming at her from in front of the television. Look, Mama, we are a family of ballies. Beautiful. Writing for chicken soup. There we were, Anil and I, discussing what we could write as a story for the chicken soup of Indian romantic soul. I had sent one story already, but it had not yet been selected, and I wanted to send in another one. I had experienced moments of love in very unexpected moments, as Anil is extremely selfless and caring. I wanted to write about how love is not just a romanticized term for as depicted in movies and novels, but could be felt in unromantic moments too. Really nothing out of the ordinary domestic moments. I was telling Anil about my ideas and the mystical incidents that had driven me into being pretty emotional and appreciative about our relationship. I don't know why, but I then asked him, Anil, if you had a story to write about me, what would you write about? Have you been any such moments for you? He couldn't think of anything. That made me feel a bit rotten, but I could understand, because not only are these moments rare, but do we tend to forget as quickly as they happen? I couldn't really blame him. I was just about to start writing my story when he said, actually, I cannot recollect the particular incident right now, but when Biji, his father, passed away, I remember that you were my greatest support system. I could feel your love, and that gave me a new reason to live. In the worst time of my life, you were there. I could not believe my ears. I was teary-eyed and moved. To say I was happy would be an understatement, because I was hardly ever liberal with appreciation. As I hugged him, something occurred to me. Anil, during the worst period of my life, when I suffered from rheumatoid arthritis, for over a 1.5 years, you were there for me during your trials. I was there for you. What more one wants in life? That was that. My story faded away into the background. The millions of little incidents of I am right, you're wrong, I wanted this, you did not do it, etc. faded into oblivion. The only important thing, our love for each other stood out like the blinking lights at the movies and the casinos. Wow, can you imagine that? Finding love in the unromantic moment? Out of the blue, thank you, Chicken Soup, for the love is always hanging around somewhere in the background. You pulled it by its collar and brought it out on the forefront for me. And for though we know that we love and are loved, these incidents mark it fresh and young again. Love is indeed an awesome feeling. Beautiful. Overcoming obstacles? We could never learn to be brave and patient if there were only joy in the world. A different plane. We were waiting for all 8 of us assembled for practice when the youngest 2 of the dancers called and sang. The rest of us looked at each other in dismay as the program was just a week away and we had learned just item 2 days back. But when we assured ourselves that was at least a week, so we had hope. As we finished the rehearsal for the day and were chatting, the topic of the girls being unwell came up again. We wondered if they would be able to participate in the program, and someone suddenly said, "Oh, come, you have done it, and I'm sure they too can." I looked at the person who said this, and we smiled with a shared memory. Yes, I had done the amazing thing, and now, in retrospect, I wondered how. My dance class was conducting its 25th anniversary program. I had begged off according. Coordinating group practice was becoming a nightmare. I had children to look after and might not have been able to rope in my mother to care for them at a specified time. But as fate would have it, 2 of the dancers who were part of the show developed trouble with their knees and had to drop out. Finally, one of the women coordinated the show requested me to step in as for one specific item they needed a senior dancer and they had exhausted all options. I agreed, thinking it was but one item. Little did I know that I was letting myself in for. I was extremely complicated and needed group sessions so that we could all put our knowledge together to make sense of this beast on Shiva. We started practice as the timings were erratic. I finally surrendered my children to my mother. 2 weeks before the program, at the end of July, I developed fever and shivering. I had rarely felt sick and fever once in a blue moon. I tried to will it away, took the crocin to keep it going. But to my horror, I realized that I was taking a tablet every once in 3 hours, and every time the fever returned, touching 104 degrees, shivering accompanied it. I had to give in and find a doctor. I went to a highly recommended GP nearby. She prescribed several tests for me and even got a malarial test done in her own clinic, all negative. Oh, the usual viral. Both of us smiled at each other. Virals last for 3 days, right? I could wait it out. Meanwhile, I continued practice taking crocin. 10 days later, the fever showed no signs of abating. I couldn't find out the program because, for one, of course, I expected to recover, but also because no one else would have fitted into the group at this stage. On the program day, I had to trust the Dolo 65 to see me through. I took one before sitting down for makeup. I wore the costume and started my warming up exercises, something I'm sometimes not diligent about, but that day it was critical for me to be informed. The program started, my performance would come later. I watched everybody go on the stage and perform with aplomb, their practice showing in the flow of the moments. I stood still, wondering if I was going to stand out like sore thumb. In Bharatanatyam, half sitting is very important, and even on a good day, it can defeat dancers. Today, I was sure I would be unable to maintain it and would probably stand through the item as if they executed the Aramandi perfectly. I went on the stage as we took positions in the dark. The raga was played and the lights came on slowly. I flowed with the music as my guru said the jati. The legs moved in rhythm with the breath. Suddenly I was expressing my surrender to Lord Shiva, and indeed I felt totally one with him. Seeing his guidance to carry me through this, I was one with the music, one with the other dancers, and as a team we delivered. There was the pain, the fear, the insecurity. I had forgotten it all as I let the music wash over me and my body respond. The pain came later, but so did appreciation for not letting a physical limitation take over my dance. Those who didn't know I had danced under these circumstances were surprised and said that they wouldn't have guessed it if I hadn't mentioned it. My son felt sick as I recovered. He had typhoid. Just as he recovered 3 weeks later, I had a relapse. This time, the typhoid and malaria tests were positive. Maybe it was the God's way of saying, I must do this show. If the tests had come out positive the first time, I would definitely have backed out, and I wouldn't have known the power of music and dance on the human body. Beautiful, la la la. Bird's eye. It all started when I took both my girls in the game section at the local mall in Ahmedabad. While they enjoyed their automated rides and air hockey, I was tempted to take up the challenge of machine which dared me to ping it between 9.995 seconds and 10.005 seconds. Seemed fairly easy to me, and I did try twice, but I was horribly off the mark. I then waited patiently on opposite others who also came with confidence, only to be proved unworthy by the machine. In the major part of the hour that I spent there, I kept the watch of the game, and not one person won the top drone and all the other goodies hanging inside the encased glass shelf as prizes. The next day, I read a story in which I came across a small bit of trivia that it takes exactly 1 second to say the word chimpanzee. I realized that if I could say chimpanzee 10 times within 10 seconds, I could fall within the time frame set by the machine. I borrowed my husband's sports watch and timed myself at practice saying chimpanzee 10 times and pressed the stop button as soon as I had finished saying it last time. About 2 days of practice, I was fairly confident of my skill and suggested that we go to the game park and entertain ourselves, blow precious money or mindless, reading the game's mum mimicked an older one. I smiled and we made our way to the game station. Once again, I hit the button the right time frame 4 times out of 5. Not only did we scoop our top drones, but I even managed to take home the Hello Kitty jackpot prize, which could only be won if I could ping it precisely on the 10th second. Soon enough came the next week, and I promised them 100% strike rate, but to my horror, I goofed up 4 out of 5 times. As I introspected on what went wrong, I realized that when I was repeating the word chimpanzee, my mind was not just the word, but on the thought that I am good at this. As against the previous visits, when all I thought was the word chimpanzee and nothing else. This small deviation changed the rhythm, and I cooped. When on the same last coin I pushed every thought away, I got the button banged on 9.996 seconds. When I went to the machine the next week with my 5 coins, I concentrated on not thinking on how good I had been. Yet again, I lost on the time frame because I was thinking of not thinking. When I time passed 10.005 seconds, I thought that I could not draw my chimpanzees and so quit in the bed, thereby finishing my 10 chimpanzees when it was just about 9.80 seconds. When I timed in less than 9.995 seconds, I thought of how I could not hurry on my chimpanzees and went back to drawing. What had gone wrong with me? I wondered what had been right on the time I had won 4 out of the 5 attempts, which I could not seem to replicate again. It was then that I understood the story about Arjuna hitting the eye of the bird in the first trip. I was thoughtful of nothing except saying chimpanzee, not of winning or losing, not feeling overconfident or underconfident. I just concentrated on the task at hand without the association of the self and the consequence of not making it on others. In the first trip, dissociation came naturally, for my ego had not stepped in all others. It was first me and then the game naturally. I lost. Oh my God, this is such a beautiful lesson for me to learn. From now onwards, it's forget. We have been putting so many videos on the Bina medication, and most of the times I see not 1 view, 2 view, 5 views, whatever be the case. I still keep on carrying on as if all that matters is the work in itself. Work is worship, and worship we surely know how, right? Om Ganganapatano, Om Ganganapatano, Om Ganganapatano, Om Ganganapatano, our unconditional love unto Lord Ganesha for today's Tuesday. Make us love you, God. Love you, love you, love you. Aren't you beautiful with you? Power of love, beautiful. The divinity of unconditional love. Like a seashore in high tide, my memory has failed to wash off the bond between us, because even today, hidden in the vast terrain, there remains a speck, a grain of sand, even if truly a latent desire, a speck that is you. There it will remain forevermore until my body turns to dust and that little speck returns to its origin. It will bring to my mind laughter and glee, and when I am desolate company, it will teach me what and where I'm wrong, and sometimes I will soothe me with its silence. I am its eternal devotee. No one can isolate me from that tiny speck. If not your company, I won't let this go. If not your touch, I won't let this fade. It's not your smile, I won't let this die. It's not you, this is mine. The poker room. The white envelope glides towards me again is Danish. Danish Khan, his 21-year-old software engineer from Pakistan. He's also an online poker buddy. I'm 44-year-old Indian housewife with two grown-up children and a lot of free time on my hand. Bored, yes, I am bored housewife. Playing poker online helped me a few hours a day lays behind my salad existence and be a part of something other than a household chores and duties. Our poker room is a small melted pot with players from various corners of the globe. There was another lovely girl, Morilia, who joined us all the way from France. Besides bonding over poker, there was also a lot of incessant chatter, good natured banter, and friendly ribbing amongst all of us. Over a few months, I watched the friendship between Danish and Manila blossom into something more. Sometimes I could also be a part of their conversations and play a gunny aunt to either of them. I would sense that Dinesh had begun trusting me. One day he was usually quiet when we played. I wondered if something had happened between Manila and him. He had also been absent from the poker room for quite a long while. After a few days, I decided to chat with him. Our friendship had graduated from being just poker buddies online forum. I wanted to ask him 100 questions, but better judgment prevailed. He was very monosyllabic, and my heart went out to him. Finally, he typed out, "Do you believe that you really fall in love on the net?" I sensed his anguish, but before I could voice an opinion, he went on, "Manu Manila is a doctor in nice. She's 29 years old and we both might be in love with each other. We cannot live without each other even for a second." I let him pour his heart out to me, sensing his need to get all off his chest. I was in love with a girl in college once, but was too shy to tell her. I fantasized about marrying her and believing all my dreams would come true, till one day she left without so much as a goodbye. After a year for searching her, I finally got her phone number and called her. She couldn't even place me